See, that's why I didn't know. I was like, oh, all right. But you guys know, did you already explain to them what the purpose of a lighthouse is for?
Yeah, we did. But go ahead and remind them because I don't know if they remember.
Does anybody know what the purpose of a lighthouse is actually for? Yes, Miss Savannah?
The light shines to the shore so boats will know where the shore is.
Where the shore is and what else?
If it's gonna hit the rock.
Yes, that's exactly what a lighthouse is for. It is designed to help protect the boats.
Mhm.
If they know that there's rocks coming, then they kind of stay away from the area. That's what a lighthouse is for.
Yeah.
Good job.
Good job, Savannah. Good job. So what was the big problem that the skipper and his little helper was? What was going on, Sarah? The storm was coming. The storm was coming, and when you're a boat on the ocean, I'm sure you need something like a lighthouse because if you're caught at sea in a storm, I'm pretty sure you want to make sure you see a light so you know where you're going, right? So, what was the skipper going to do? What was he going to do? Was he going to run away and hide under his bed? What was he going to do?
I hide it under my chair.
You got
I hide it under my chair.
the lighthouse.
He was going to stay there and try to fix the lighthouse, right? Because we need that light, as Mr. Doug talked about. They need that light, especially when there's a storm going on. So, I wasn't here. I was eating snacks behind the stage. So
And you didn't bring any for the rest of us?
I didn't bring any for the rest of us.
That's cruel, Pastor.
I know.
I need one.
I know. Me too. Me too.
No, you don't.
Me too.
I'm
So, but who likes storms? Who likes storms? How many of you guys can sometimes be scared of storms? A couple people? Yeah, storms can be, sit down for me, buddy. Storms can be tornadoes, yeah, tornadoes are crazy. How many, did you guys see the big storm on Friday when it was like hailing and stuff? That was great, I was driving in that. I don't know if you were right at that time too.
Friday, where I was at, it kind of stormed, then stopped, and then stormed again. I was kind of disappointed.
Yes.
We went camping this summer.
Yeah.
For Sandlot. It was raining really hard and trees were falling and stuff, and we were in a tent.
You were in a tent? Yeah, that's scary to be in a tent. Oh my gosh.
I've actually had to evacuate from a hurricane before.
Have you? Yeah, hurricanes for sure. Like all the hurricanes that we hear about on TV that have been going on.
They're
especially
big storms.
Big storms. Huge storms. They come and they do a bunch of damage to people. Well, we're going to talk about, still talking about faith, but we're talking about the opposite of that, which is fear and doubt today. Fear and doubt today. But before we get into that, I need some volunteers. I need some volunteers. You guys are too willing, especially after last week. Especially after Mr. Doug, I asked him how many of them trusted me. We were talking about faith, putting our trust in God. And so I said, I had a ladder here.
Yeah?
And at first I started small. I had them do trust falls.
No.
But
Did
then,
you fall forward as you were standing behind us?
no.
Oh, okay.
No. But then I brought over a ladder and said, how many people really trust me?
And Michaela went to the
And Michaela almost went up to the top and fell back. So it's a good thing I did some workout routine before I did that. So, I mean, you guys are still raising your hands because you have no idea what I'm going to ask you to do. You guys are brave. You guys are brave kids.
You know, but I was thinking about one thing that the skipper said, and it just keeps sticking out of my mind, when he said, it's on a solid rock.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wonder if that's going to come up later.
It might. It just might. But before we do that, I need some volunteers. Okay, Savannah, geez, you're almost jumping out of your chair. All right. Savannah, I'm going to, what in the world? Hey, stop. All right, Savannah, today you are going to play Jesus. You think you can handle that today?
I want to see Jesus.
Sure.
She's like, oh, pressure's on. Okay.
Oh,
So we're going to give you this.
I want to be God.
We're going to give you this. It's a nice robe. Very nice. All right, so Jesus, we obviously know Jesus was always teaching, he was always preaching to people. So one day, he needed to get himself a break. So he has his disciples. Let me see. Juliana, you want to come up? Angel. You can pick somebody. Zoe. And Jekiah. All right, so we got the disciples. And Jesus said that you guys are going to go in a boat. You guys are going to go in a boat. So let me get, take a nice little boat ride. So let me get you guys all set to go on a boat ride for you. Here's a little something for your boat ride.
Get away from me. Please.
What's wrong?
Here we go. Whoop. Very nice. It's very fashion. It's a fashion statement. Here we go. I actually think this is going to be too small. We'll get rid of that.
I can wear that.
There we go. Very nice. You want a pineapple shirt?
You know what?
Here we go.
There's no one you-
Very nice. All right. It's like a hat and a shirt all at the same time. Here we go. You guys look like you're going on a cruise. All right. We got some sunglasses for you. There you go. There you go. All right. So they decided. So Jesus said, guys or ladies, we're gonna get in the boat. So everybody, go ahead, get in the boat. Get in the boat. Okay, fine. It's Mr. Dog. I thought the instructions were clear. I told him to get in the boat, and they're just sitting next to it.
Well, if they put their fingers in it, maybe.
All right, fine. We'll get rid of a boat. We'll say it's too small. All right. Go ahead. So pick that behind it. All right, but let's see. Let's line up like we're in a boat. So Jakaya, come sit right here, or come sit right here for me. Sit down. We're in a boat. Angel behind her. Juliana, come behind Angel, and Savannah or Jesus. You're gonna be in the very back, okay? You're gonna be in the very back. You're the caboose. So, the disciples.
Should this be the roller?
No, the disciples started rowing. Okay, ready? We're gonna start rowing our boat. Ready? Row, 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 your boat gently down the stream. So, and Jesus, you fell asleep. You're not rowing. You're tired. You've been preaching. You've been doing God's work. Okay, you're sleeping. All right. So we're rowing the boat, and all of a sudden, you guys keep rowing. Uh-oh. And all of a sudden, as these guys were rowing, they started to see some storm clouds come in. And Elijah, help me out. Come here. The wind started blowing, so I need you to take this and see if we can make a wind sound effect here. A little, kind of wave around your head and kind of whip it around. If you do it fast enough, it'll make a... So don't hit anybody with it. Stand back for me. So the wind started blowing. Yeah, stand off kind of in the corner. Very good. And you guys are getting a little scared. Did you see? But Jesus, you're still sleeping. Very good. Jesus is out like a light. So the disciples see the wind. They feel the wind. The waves start coming up. Sarah, come up here and let's start shaking them up a little bit because the waves. Oh, jeez. The waves. So the waves are making them go back and forth and back and forth.
Let me help you, Abby.
So then, you hear the thunder and you see the rain.
No.
The rain starts coming. The rain starts coming. Alright, time out. Freeze. So the disciples were really, they probably did do that. They probably did just like that. So, Sarah, stop for a minute. Elijah, stop. We're freezing. So, one of the disciples had the smart idea to wake up Jesus. Who's pretty smart out of you three? Who's pretty? Juliana? All right, so, okay, hang on. Time out. Freeze, stop. Okay, Juliana, wind's blowing, the waves are making you guys go back and forth. The rain and thunder come. I'm sure the disciples didn't go, Jesus, so I need you to kind of think, you guys are thinking you're about to die. You think you're about ready to go, blah. So I need you to be totally freaking out and try to wake Savannah up. Okay? Let's take two. Ready? Action. Go. I'm pretty sure they didn't do that. Okay, let's see. Angel, can you help her out? Here's your inspiration. You're about ready to die. You're about ready to sink. The boat's going under. The storm's getting crazy. I need you to wake up Jesus. Okay? Ready? Go. There you go. Okay, that's a little better.
I'm a storm.
That's right, Mr. Doug is helping me do the storm. So Jesus wakes up. This is your big line, Savannah. You ready for this? Jesus looked at the storm and says, "Peace, be still."
Stop, everyone stop.
Stop. Okay, that was a little off. We need a storm. Let's get the storm going again. Now, and when Savannah says, "Peace, be still," we all need to stop at the same time. Okay?
Can I do these
Ready?
fishes out?
No. Ready? So Sarah, get ready to shake them. But as soon as Savannah says, "Peace, be still," you need to stop.
We all gotta stop as soon as she says it.
All right, ready? Go. Okay, so all right, good job. Good job. I'll take these. Thank you so much. You guys go back and have a seat. Thank you.
Thank you.
No, let go. Zoe.
Oh my
We'll take a promise from everybody, Zoe. Zoe's gonna come and get the props from you guys.
He did it to my seat too.
Give all your
What? Tell it up, Mr. Dog.
Hey.
very nice.
Storms are bad.
I got beat all over myself.
Oh, Hey, that's someone else's song. I know that song.
All right.
Thank you all for your
Thank you for
participation.
participation. Give yourselves a hand. Look, you all did great. You all did fantastic. Very nice. Very nice. It was inspiring. It was inspiring.
I like the reaction when they started getting the water.
I know. That was great. I'll watch it back. It was good. So, if you guys, I know, that's what they were like, I know. So, have you guys heard that story before? Some yes, some knows. And that was the story of Jesus.
It was so easy to do. It was like,
I was the story of Jesus calling the storm, right? So there's a big storm going on. Jesus wakes up and he kind of scratches. He goes, "What's going on?" And the disciples are like, "We're all gonna die! The wind, the storm, the waves, the rain, the thunder. We're all gonna die!
fish at
And you're over here just."
And adults, they become little kids when there's a storm coming. They
Yeah.
freak out. Like I said, when I had to evacuate for the
And
hurricane,
little kids
you
become
had people
adults.
that were trying to get water, trying to get food. There was no
Yeah.
gas. There were lines trying to get out of the city that were miles and miles
Adults become
long,
little
Yeah.
kids
and just
when
stuck
the
in
storm-
traffic because everyone's
and
trying to
kids
escape, and
become
everyone is in a
adults.
giant panic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So your reaction was mild, but guaranteed
Right?
adults have that same thing when a storm
Yeah.
comes.
So what happened? When Jesus said, "Peace be still," what happened?
The storm stopped.
Everything stopped, right?
Wait, why am I sitting down?
Everything stopped. Now there's another story in the Bible, same kind of thing, where the disciples were in a boat, row, only this time Jesus wasn't with them. Jesus wasn't with them. But there was a storm that came. There was a storm that came. The disciples freaked out again, and all of a sudden they saw something headed towards them, and they were like, "Ah, it's a ghost!" That's what the Bible says. They thought it was a ghost, but it was really Jesus. Jesus was walking on the water. So the disciples were, he was like, So, Jesus was walking on the water, the disciples were like, "Wait a minute, that's Jesus." So Peter goes, "Yeah, wait a minute. Is that? That's Jesus." So Peter goes, "Hey, Jesus, if that's you out there, you goofy guy, if that's you walking on the water, tell me to come to you, and I'll come to you." And so Jesus says, "Come on. Come on. Come on, Sarah. We'll pretend I'm Jesus, you're Peter this time. So come on." So Peter steps out of a boat and starts walking on the water. Anybody else want to walk on the water before? I think it'd be pretty cool if you could walk on the water. But then, all of a sudden, so I'm going to need your help again. All of a sudden, as Peter was walking on the water, I need you to be some waves. No, sorry, Zoe, you can just sit down. I just need you to be some waves. Kind of wave your hands up, be some crazy waves. So as Peter was walking on the water, he started seeing the waves, and he got a little scared. Very good. So as he got scared, he started going down, 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 started to sink. And he said, "Jesus!" This is your big line, saying, "Jesus! Help!
Help,
So Jesus picks Peter up, he helps Peter up, and they get on the boat, and then the storm stops. Good job, Zoe. But,
Now I go
good
back
job,
to
Sarah.
my
Thank you.
amazing putty.
But Jesus asked Peter, he said, "Why you had so little faith?" Now, he says, "You had so little faith." And that's what we've been talking about. That's what we started talking about last week, is this thing called faith. And then here's our memory verse, and it's in Mark 4:39. It says, "Peace be still." That's exactly what Jesus said to the storm. I didn't even know that was still there. And then he says in John 14:27, "Peace I leave with you, my peace I give you. I do not give to you as the world gives. Do not let your hearts be troubled, and do not be afraid." John 14:27. So, we talked about how we can trust God last week, how we can put our faith in God, right? And we said how if you guys can trust me, you can for sure trust Him, right? But we can also have faith that God is right there when we go through some tough times. That He's right there with us. Because where was Jesus when He was when the disciples were in the boat and the storm came? Where was Jesus at? Where was He at, Elijah?
I don't know. When is church going to be open?
Well, I don't know. Half an hour maybe? I don't know. Where was He, Savannah?
He was right there. I'm walking on the
He was right there. He was walking on the water, and in the first story, He was in the boat with them, right? He was right there with them. Now, Mr. Doug said when storms come, adults can become like kids, and that's true. But there's things in life that makes adults and even kids get a little worried or a little scared. They're not actual storms, but we call them the storms of life. It's really bad situations. Bad situations show up. And it feels like everything is in a whirlwind. But a lot of what, Zoe, stop doing that because you're being a distraction about it.
Sorry.
But we don't realize, or what we sometimes forget, is that Jesus is right there with us even when things go bad. But you see what the thing is that we get scared. And that's okay. Fear is a emotion, it's natural. But want to know what we do sometimes? What I've done sometimes? I told you guys some personal stories last week. I'll tell you this story. There's been times in my life where I thought the situation was a little too hard for God to handle. Like Peter did. What was Peter doing when he first walked out on the boat? When he was walking on water, what did he do? He was walking on water, right?
How?
Because he was focused in on Jesus, and so Peter was walking on water. But what did he start to do when he saw the waves and the wind? And the Bible says when he saw the storm, what did he do?
He got scared.
He got scared and he started to sink, right, Sarah?
I've read that.
He started to look at the waves and the storm. And sometimes there's a lot of people who think that their problem is a little too hard for God.
Elijah, put the chair down.
That what they're going through, God can't help them out with. And so we feel that way, and that's just a lie from the devil. Because like we talked about last week, God can do anything, right? God can change the impossible and make it possible. That's what having faith is. Like Mr. Doug said, the seeing or believing in something that we do not see. So believing that the situation can turn around even if we don't see it. But the devil comes in, and he tries to make us fear or doubt. Because the opposite of faith is doubt. That we try to doubt that God can handle it. We say, well, maybe God can't handle it.
Well, I will modify that a little bit. Sometimes we know God can handle it, but sometimes it's us who think we can't handle it.
Yeah,
And so it's like, that really drags a lot of people down.
yeah,
Because we start doubting what we can do, we lose that faith to God. I know I've done it
oh
a
yeah.
lot.
I've done it many times too. Many times too.
Because we all know that it's like, well, God can do anything, but maybe I can't handle this.
Right,
Maybe it's too big for me to handle.
right.
And that's kind of where we get it wrong, because then it's like, if you give it to God, then whatever His will is,
Yep.
then He'll triumph probably over that obstacle, or move around it in some other direction that we may not have seen yet.
Yeah. And that's true too. I mean, even like Mr. Doug was just saying, even doubting when God can even use us for anything. I know people have done that. I've been there too. But it's going to be our choice to either think like that or think like and build our faith up and be in the Bible and praying and talking to good Christian friends and help us kind of combat it. It's like this. I need some volunteers. It's like this. Let me do another object lesson. We did one last week. Let me do one this week. Who's hungry? I need somebody who's hungry.
Me.
I'm
starving.
Don't pick the fat man. He's always hungry.
Savannah, come on up here. And Juliana, you want to come out? All right. So it's,
I'm starving.
let's see. Yeah. Let's do this.
I'm starving. Yes, I am.
All right. Calm down.
Got some snacks. I told you I had some snacks back there.
Who cares?
I had some snacks back there. So, who likes cookies? You're like, who likes carrots and apples and everything like that? You like that too?
I saw the hands kind of go down.
Yeah, I sort of like it, but you know. So we just said the opposite of faith is doubt. So doubt and faith. So let me see here. Actually, Zoe, you can help me out
Which one do you want to go?
by holding those for me. Just hold them.
Left?
I'll eat them. I'm watching.
Left is doubt, right is faith.
This is also a lesson in temptation. Don't eat them.
I want to eat them.
I'm gonna open up these. I think. Let's see how.
Oh,
Nice. All right.
I'm starving. Can I have some?
Yeah.
I'm starving. Can I have some?
Everybody's like, I want some.
I'm
So-
starving.
hold on, let him finish what he's got to say.
So, it's our choice to either think about the lie, like Mr. Doug said, or doubting that we can't do something, or that God can't do something, or it's our choice to look in the Bible and see through eyes of faith that the thing can turn around. So, let's say that the devil puts a lie in your head, and you start getting afraid, and you start thinking, well, maybe he's right, maybe I can't do it. Now, what would happen if you ate too many cookies? You get sick, right? So let's say the devil puts a lie in your head. Go ahead. Zoe, give, let's see, who do I want to do this to? Let's give Savannah a cookie. Savannah, go ahead and take a cookie. You can go ahead and eat it. You don't have to hold it in your hand. Go ahead and eat it. It's good enough.
Nom, nom, nom.
Nom, nom, nom. Sound to be like Cookie Monster, all right? So we'll say Savannah's going to be doubt and Juliana's going to be faith, okay? So, seriously, give me a puppy dog look. I want to be doubt or faith. But the more we think about the lies, you can keep on giving Savannah cookies. I mean, you can go to town, Savannah. It's up to you. This is your time to shine. I'm sharing my snacks here. You can eat them up. So the more we think about it, and the more we listen to that voice, the more, it kind of like Mr. Doug said, it can really, doubt and fear can really mess people up, you were saying, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
See, you children are a little young, and some of you are a little too young to understand how much doubt and fear can plague you. But as you grow older, I guarantee you, you'll see how much fear and doubt can plague you.
Yeah.
And how much faith you're gonna need in God.
I want one.
Keep going. So,
You're gonna make her not want to eat her lunch.
and I heard Dad's gonna text me like, what do you do? All those cookies.
Wait, so you want,
No, I'm starving.
So, Mr. Doug, what do you think would happen if we just kept on thinking that way, thinking in doubt all the time?
you're end up gonna, how do I wanna put it? You're gonna let doubt take over.
Mm-hmm.
Because if it's doubt, and it's taking away faith, it's one or the other, it can't be both.
Right. See, so like you said, you're either feeding your doubt, or you can take an apple or a carrot or cheese, whatever you want.
Can I
Or-
take an apple?
You can feed your faith.
Would you want me to hand out, or
Yeah.
hand an apple or a carrot? I'll take that cheese stick. And the nuts.
Hey.
Those are mine, that's my faith.
That's Mr. Doug's faith.
Take an
Can I
apple,
get a
this is
cookie?
Your faith.
faith. Faith, apples, and carrots. I took away the processed stuff.
What? Yes. You have a
You want an apple or a carrot? How about you, Miss? See, love it, sharing.
Sharing is caring.
Love it, sharing.
So, but you can only, like Mr. Doug just said, you can only feed one. You can only think about one.
I took that cheese though.
He did take that. He took those cheese and those nuts, man.
You know what I'm saying?
Now, we can't.
This is hard faith right here.
That's the hard faith. I like it. We can't feed both of them at the same time, like Mr. Doug was saying. It's got to be one or the other. We can't be like, "Ah," it doesn't work that way. It's one. We can either think about things through faith, or we can have doubt and fear take over.
Because if you think about it, with your parents, when they say, don't fill up on cookies and snacks because you'll ruin your dinner, how many of you heard that? All of you, right? It's the same thing. If you have your dinner first, boom, you might be full, and then dessert comes.
Yeah.
Which could be a storm. But you're like, you know what, I'm so full from all that faith that I don't really need to worry about all that doubt. But if you have a bunch of cookies and snacks, I'm not feeling so good. I don't think I'm hungry for dinner. Doubt,
Right.
which takes away, and you're like, I don't need any faith because I'm so.
Right. So, you guys can go sit down. Those are for you.
But you can't use both.
You can't use both. You guys can go ahead and have a seat. Mr. Doug is absolutely right. You can't do both. You can't do, I have one more thing to pass out to somebody who's sitting quietly. Who is gummy worms?
Whoa, you just said my favorite thing. I'm taking those too. I'm a faith thief.
No, I want
All right.
some still.
And who do you think it was? Are you opening the bag or are you giving them the whole bag?
No, I'm giving him the whole bag.
All right, giving them the whole bag.
Somebody,
So,
Mr. Doug is looking for somebody to give a whole bag of gummy worms to in just a little bit. In just a little bit. We're almost done. So I just want to point out so you guys know what you're going to get. You get Savannah and Juliana.
lots of sugary goodness.
No. Savannah and Juliana are like, it's a good day to come
And
to church.
Zoe,
Oh
you don't count because you're actually a helper.
That's right.
Sorry.
That's what happens when you
Let's
graduate
see, who
out.
was good, who was quiet,
So,
who's learning. You know what, maybe they should do a quiz at the end to see who learned from your lesson today.
maybe
Maybe that way they can get the worms of faith.
the worms of faith. I like it. So the point of today is, guys, that even when bad things happen, we can have faith that God is with us. Because I don't want you guys to be living in doubt and fear. God doesn't want you to be living in doubt and fear. It can be tough. It can be tough sometimes to think when you see the storms of life happen and you start to think, well, maybe I can't do it. Maybe it's too big of a problem for God. Maybe this, maybe doubt. I doubt this, I doubt that. It can be hard not to be that way. I just got out of time of being that way. I just had a rough time, a rough little stretch where I felt like Mr. Doug was talking about. But it was in that time where I opened up the Bible and I started praying and started thinking about faith. Because what did we say faith was last week? Did we see things? What is faith? Remember, Mr. Doug gave you a definition. We talked about it last week. We said it earlier today too. What is faith? If you believe it, you can do it. But it's also believing in things that we don't see, right? Like we believe in God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. We don't see them. We believe in angels. We don't see them. Sometimes you do. Some people have told me stories where they've seen angels and demons and stuff, but we don't usually see them.
But the point being that we don't see God physically, like face to face,
Right.
like we might see Pastor Austin or your friends at school or your friends here in this room, but they're there.
But they're there. Right?
That's faith.
Yeah, that's what faith is. So just like that, we can, even though we don't see God, we can know He's there even when it's tough times for us. When the devil tries to put lies of fear and doubt in our heads, it's our choice to either dwell on that and think about it, or say, devil, get that lie out of here, you big poopy face, I'm not going to listen to you. I know, I'm not going to listen to you. I know what the Bible says. I know I have faith that God's got my back. So get out of here, Mr. Jerkface Poopy Pants, okay? Because that's what he wants us to do. And like Mr. Doug said earlier, a lot of times, adults, it seems primarily, think about stuff like that. Think about those lies about fear and doubt, and it can really mess up people. It really has a negative impact on people's minds. It's a battlefield in the mind.
Yeah, like the food that you guys are teasing me with.
So
Well,
I know you're helping. You're helping out. Sorry. So we're gonna pray here in just a minute. I don't think I have time for the video because I want to do this game here. So we're gonna pray. We don't usually do games a whole lot. But I do have a game today. So we're gonna pray. I'm gonna do it really quick.
nice. You want me to throw it away for you?
Oh my God, people, stop making me hungry.
And next week I have another object lesson for you. So you never know. Maybe you'll be passing out snacks again next week. You never know. So it's like, bring it. So yeah, I was like, I'll be here. I'll be here next week. But next week we're going to talk about, I'm going to have another object lesson about food. It may be food. Julia. It may be food.
Is this your first time here? And you got food, huh?
She got food, you know what I'm talking about.
You got good food.
I'm hungry. I'm hungry.
You know there's hot dogs at the church,
also we have hot dogs right after church today, so make sure you stick around for that. So Julia, I was like, this is the best church ever. So we're gonna pray. We're gonna pray because I don't know if anybody's in a tough situation right now where you may feel like, or you may be scared, or you may be doubting whether you can do something or God can't turn it around. So we're gonna pray. So I want to be quiet. Yeah, Mr. Dice.
Oh, I was also gonna say, not doubt and all this stuff, it may not be, you might not need to pray for yourself, but if you know somebody who's in a tough situation, or have seen someone, and you don't even have to say their name, you know, you can be anonymous with it, but you can pray for them too. They would appreciate it.
Right.
God listens to all prayers.
That's exactly right. It may not be you. But like Mr. Doug said, it may be a friend, it may even be your parent, grandparent, uncle, aunt, teacher, whoever it may be. Yes, Amanda.
Next month I get to go see my sister.
Hey.
Nice.
Yes, Elijah.
The church gonna be open for a while?
It'll be over in a minute.
Elijah, I know you're excited about the hot dogs, man. I know
No,
hot dogs are amazing. We all get food. Okay, all right,
This
so
is the important time.
But-
This is the important time.
So-
Sarah?
So, I want everybody to bow your heads, close your eyes. Zoe's going to pray. Zoe, I want you to pray, but we all kind of have faith when times are tough. We have faith that God, we remember that God is right there with us during those our bad times, and we don't, and we all try not to believe, listen to the lies of the devil that make us be fearful or doubt. Can you do that for us?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Lord, the lesson that we learned today, holding faith and the devil lying to us, Lord, help us with that lesson Lord, today. The faith, Lord, help the kids do the faith and not the lies that the devil said, Lord. And help class, help the kids that weren't here today, help them be here next Sunday, Lord. And just help them all, Lord. And like I said, Lord, pray like the faith, help these kids have faith and not listen to the devil's lies. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. All right, thanks. So
Well, I got these things to pass out. I got Big Faith, the worms. I got Mini Faith cheese and Mini Faith, looks like almonds. What? Who likes almonds? Anybody like almonds? All right. Well, this is what I want. If any of you can answer the 3 times that faith was used in his lessons,